And welcome back again. Yours truly, Anthony Parker, of Keeping It Honest. We try to keep it simple. There you go. We try to keep it honest and we try to keep it real. So, what have I missed? Yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander. If you got online and wanted to know what the upcoming show was about, the good old days when we didn't hate each other and we loved each other. This had me thinking. Back in the old days of growing up, Mr. Rogers, black people and white people, all people getting together, with all the crazy things that are happening now, we need to think about the good things. Our country, our world's like a neighborhood. So when you get up every day, think of this. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this neighborhood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Together now, won't you please? Won't you please? Please won't you be my neighbor? Yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander, keeping it real, keeping it honest, keeping it simple. The good old days when we really didn't have to worry about a lot of stuff. Did we? Hmm. Here's a picture that you might not have seen. This was a classic picture from 1969, Mr. Rogers. And we're going to talk about how when they took this picture and did this particular show, this is the mailman, it's always on the show. And let me know, come on, you probably have watched Mr. Rogers. But did you ever see this episode? This is truly unity. And this is truly when racial disparity wasn't really talked about. Because you have a black man and a white man sitting together back then, back in 69. We had just came out of a time when blacks still weren't around comfortably at pools with white people. So this picture right here, this episode right here, it opened up people's eyes as far as we can sit in a pool and wade together. But you look at this now, the disparity of what's been happening in society, blacks, whites, all nationalities. What do we have to do to make it work? You know what this episode is about? Throwing out some of the trash, some of the trashy news. And we've got a lot of news. It's made me think. When we vote and we have our choices, we have the Democrats, we have Republicans, and some say the third parties. So with people saying, well, you know what, we don't have people to vote for. So here we go. I've said this before in the show. If you have 5 people running, and out of those 5 people, one of those is your choice. So out of the 5, they're going to go to 4. So the one that you picked doesn't get in. Bam. So you've got 4 people left now. 4 people. Not the one you wanted, but the 4 that are left. So out of those 4 people, they may not have been the ones that you want, but you know what? I've got to pick somebody. So you pick this person right here. And out of the 4 people, they're going to pick 3. So out of the 4 people, boom, yours is gone again. So now you have 3 people. I've been disappointed twice. What am I going to do? Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to pick one of the 3 people. So you decide to pick this person right here. Third person. They only take 2 after that. That election comes, boom. They've got 2 left. Wow. 3 of the people that I've wanted, 3 choices, they're all gone. So now I've got 2 choices. Do I really want to vote for that person? I don't know. I kind of don't like their beliefs. I wanted my very first choice. But you know what? I have to vote, so I'm going to vote for this person. Bam. So there's 2 people left. You vote for this person, boom, this one's the winner. Wow. And this was the one that you didn't want. So are you glad that you voted? Because now you have the person in charge, and that's the one you didn't want. Hmm. So you think about that. That's how the elections are today. You have all these people running. You may have your particular person. They may be in a Green Party, they may be Libertarian, they may be Democrat, they may be Republican. Do you pick one even though you know they don't have a chance to win, but you want to make a statement? Do I vote or do I not vote? So here's the Democrats right here. Here's the Republicans right here. And we'll say this is the Green Party. Okay? Who should we vote for? Well, we don't like the beliefs of the Democrats. We don't like the beliefs of Republicans. But we do like the beliefs of the Green Party. When they say you settle for the both of two evils, well, why would you settle for the both of two evils? Evil is evil. So if there's no choice with evil here, no choice with evil there, and this is a good, that's when you decide in your heart, well, you know what? Do I want the two evils or do I want the good? And if more people vote for the good, then you will get rid of the two evils. That's for whatever party that you believe in. So no matter what, prayerfully, you will vote for what's in your heart. And hopefully, what's in your heart will be in most people's hearts. And then that person will become the president of the United States or whatever party that you're looking for. But if you don't vote, and if you don't like who's in office, then again, either you run or you get somebody else to run. But think about this. These days that are coming up, this election coming up next year for President of the United States, come together so we all can be neighbors. Even if you don't get who's in and you don't like that person, well, prayerfully, that person will want to work for you. Because remember, politicians, they do work for you. We don't work for them. And in the long run, we try to keep it simple, keep it honest, and keep it real. One day, we all will be together. I sound like Dr. King. With our feet in the waters, blacks and whites, Hispanics, all nationalities, all creeds, and we will be in the pool working together. And welcome back again, yours truly, Anthony Parker, drinking my tea. I know you may see this like kind of like on some other shows and they're drinking coffee, but I want to drink some tea. We have a great show. You can email me, parkerman2011 at gmail.com, parkerman2011 at gmail.com. You can also text me. It's 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. And you can go on our Patreon account. And what that is when you get on there, it's like a fundraiser. So we're talking about campaigning. And so it's like PBS. When you get on there, we have 3 stages, and you can contribute on those stages. If you say, wow, you know what, the show, they do a lot, we're going to contribute to keep it going on. Think of this as if you're running for office. A lot of people, when they run for office, and I've done that, you have to ask for money for fundraising to keep your campaign going. So on this show, we're fundraising to keep this show going on, because as you'll see on this show, if you're a first-time person, thank you. And if you're in a replay, thank you. Hit the like and subscribe button and tell your friends. We try to give the right side. We try to give the left side. At the end of the day, we will have the truth. And you might be upset as far as the truth, because it may not be what you want it to be, but hopefully you'll be satisfied. So that's what we do. So you get on Patreon and just contribute to our page and keep our show going. We have some good shows coming up with a lot of people that's going to surprise you. I know you see me do this, just me, but we've got some really good surprises coming up. So speaking of surprises, some of the hot news, and it's a crazy world. So we're throwing out the trash on this show. A lot of the things we're throwing out. Russell Brand. We kind of know the guy. Some people don't know him, some people do. You're only as famous as you think you are. Here's a guy that was married to Katy Perry, that was smoozing and rich and everything, has a podcast, millions of viewers. And he went from a guy that was like, oh, hey, I'm just Russell and I'm just chilling with a lot of women and everything, and I'm married to Katy Perry doing my own thing, to a man a lot of people started taking him serious politically wise. And so I guess now there's some accusations from over a couple decades ago that he had sexual relations and rape allegations with a bunch of women. And at least he had one that was 16 years old while he was in his 30s. So now people are looking at him, and YouTube has said, okay, he can keep the show, but he won't make money. Some of his brands, ironically, his name is Russell Brand, they decided to drop out. And he has been going through many, I guess, statements against some of the people who, and I'll have to say allegedly, that were saying he raped them. So a lot of people are taking up for Russell. And I mean, yeah, you can take up with him to a point, but when the facts become facts, then when do you stop taking up for this person? Okay. Rich people, sometimes celebrities, anybody in the media, they've gone down big time because of allegations. But sometimes the allegations have not been true. A lot of times they have been. And I say you look at allegations for what they are. They're serious, at least investigated. A lot of people have been brought down. Tavis Smiley, one of the people I like. Um, Charlie Rose, one of the people I like. Um, Murdoch from Fox, not exactly a person I've liked, but he's one that's been brought down. So when you try to do things, eventually it's going to catch up to you. And as we're talking about this story now, the next coming weeks or whatever, we're going to see if all these allegations are true, and go from there. But when you think you're better and holier than anybody else, boy, it will hit you in the fan. Stay tuned for that story. Russell Brand, keeping it real, throwing away the trash. Speaking of, in some people's eyes, trash. You heard the story about Jimmy Fallon? Okay. There was a big Rolling Stone interview where this reporter interviewed almost 100 people, I think. And they had said, wasn't any sexual relations, but that he was mean and cruel to his staff. Some people in the staff had to go to therapy because he had them work long hours. He screamed at them. So he recently apologized to the staff, and it says, it's embarrassing and I feel so bad. Sorry if I embarrassed you and your family and friends. I feel so bad. I can't even tell you. So me, my take on Jimmy Fallon is one where, he does a lot of silly stuff, and after a while it's corny. Okay. Sometimes the people who are the silliest are sometimes the hardest people to work with. Okay. We haven't got to if I'm hard or not to work with, but there have been some people that have said that, but they haven't seen my silly side. So Jimmy Fallon, some people glad to see him, go down that road where publicity is looking bad. If you remember, it happened to Ellen not too long ago, right before she ended her show. There were many allegations. He apologized. When you're in a position of power, and you have to work and people have to work to get you in that position of power, once you get that position of power, do you change? And maybe you don't see it. So when the staff had to go to Rolling Stone and talk to this reporter, um, was that something that was taken serious? Tonight Show was a franchise. Okay. Jimmy Fallon didn't know that he had intimidated and upset some people. Is he so far removed from his show that he doesn't care because he's doing his show? Very good talent for what you make of it. Um, But people, stay tuned to the people that you work with. Right now, tossing it, trash. Let's go back to Russell Brand real quick. So the biggest story is he said everything was consensual. Sorry about that. We should have finished that in that segment. But you're with a 16-year-old kid and you're in your 30s, right then and there, you should be put in jail. When you like somebody so much and you follow them so much, when they do something bad, do you still follow them? Can you say, oh man, they made a mistake? They are making it up now. Not when it's something messing up somebody else and something that's illegal and moralistically bad. If you have any questions or comments on that, you can email yours truly, parkerman2011@gmail.com, parkerman2011@gmail.com. I have to ask you too, we do this thing where, you know what, I don't just talk to guests, as you'll find out. I also ask the viewers. Here's a question to think about. What is your current state of mind? As you watch this, as you live your daily life, what is your current state of mind? Are you in a mind now where everything is good? Or are you in a mind now where you need somebody to talk to you? I can tell you society is hard. We have a lot of people in our world. And with the Twitter and the YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, we have so many friends. One thing technology has done is taken away our friends. We get to know each other by tapping a button. Doesn't really mean that we know each other. We're just friends. How many times have you been on Facebook and said, oh man, let me see if I can get a new friend? And we try to make sure we have more friends than anybody else. But technically, when you're in a moment of crisis, is that really your friend? If you're in a bad state of mind, who can you talk to? I've always said, if you've got 1,000 people that you know, and only one person that you can really talk to, then that is a person you're supposed to be with. So if you're going through an interesting state of mind, try to find a friend. Or if you know people that are going through a state of mind, try to be their friend. Kind of like a public service announcement. All right, what is your state of mind? And again, some of the interesting things, state of mind. We're going to go back. Remember when Donald Trump, in that mugshot, that famous mugshot, what was going through Donald Trump's head? So remember when he surrendered, gave himself up, took the mugshot, see the mugshot right there? He says, I went through an experience that I never thought I'd have to go through. Really? How many people have gone through that experience? I think it would be, as he said, a terrible experience. I came in and I was treated very nicely, but it is what it is. And that's one of the terms I hate. It is what it is. I took a mugshot, which I never heard the words mugshot. That wasn't. Didn't teach me that at the Wartime School of Finance. But if you look at that picture now, okay, it's a brand for him now. He has gotten that picture all across the world and even selling it. Man, so does he feel anything? I don't know. Will he be our next president? I don't know that either, but stay tuned. As I said in the opener, it's all in who you vote for and who you believe in. What are we worried about? There's differences between different demographics, male, female, black, white, other nationalities, gay, lesbian. So when you have somebody out there running for any office, they have to be able to talk about anything and everything. So this right here, how many people worried about this? Democracy being able to function in the United States. 83% of the people in the United States are worried. What exactly is democracy? It's all in the eye of the beholder. 15% are not worried. So my question is, the 15% that aren't worried, how are they living? Are they living financially good? Are they around people? Are they rich? Do they have no problems? And maybe that's why they're not worried about democracy, but the 83% that are worried about it, are they living a hard life? Are they trying to make ends meet every week? Are we really living in a realistic world? Speaking of realistic, as we talk about the political field a little bit, and we've got so many things that we're going to be talking about. Politicians, we wonder why we don't trust politicians and where are the good ones. We're going to talk about the good ones. We're going to also talk about the bad ones. And we're going to talk about, too, Mr. Rogers. Wow, in this crazy world, we have to remember the world of Mr. Rogers when it was really a safe world and people were still trying to get along. President, United States, Biden, 24% of the country says that he should run. 30% of the country say Trump should run. But there's at least 60% that say neither one of them should run. So what should we do? Okay, if you don't have these two that you want to run, well, who do you want to run? You've got many choices. Okay, all of them are right here. All right. You've got Trump, you've got DeSantis, you've got Ramaswamy, you've got Pence, you've got Haley, you've got Scott, you've got Christie, you got Bergen, and you got Hutchinson. Bergen and Hutchinson you can take out because they got no chance. Governor Christie, interesting person, really after Trump, we don't know what he's going to do if he's looking for a VP position. Governor Tim Scott is totally out of touch, definitely for an VP position. Nikki Haley, she's serious on her issues, but would she be a good VP? Mike Pence is just talking. Who knows what he wants? Vivek, some people say, okay, he had the highest ratings approval, but he's been talking some stuff which is interesting. Governor DeSantis, not a clue. And Donald Trump, of course, is winning. So Vivek, let's talk a little bit about Vivek. On one of the shows I did, I kind of really supported Vivek. Not saying that I would really vote for him, but I liked his trajectory. And he's one that after the debates, he started rising. But then he started talking and everything. One thing he's against affirmative action. He's for immigrants and illegal immigrants being sent back to where they came from. He recently said that, you know what, if you're an immigrant, illegal alien, and your kid was born here, I still want you all out. So even if your kid is born here and you're not, we're taking the parent and we're taking the kid and we're sending them back to wherever they came from. The reason he says this, which is interesting, because he says, well, ironically, he feels that a family should still stay together. The one part I thought was interesting, he said, okay, we'll send you back and then you come back the right way. I can understand that part. We're going to send you back, but make it accessible to come back the right way. But if you get sent back, what if you're working, you've been there for years? When you go back, you lose your job because when you come back, you're going to have to start from scratch. So this is a stitchy situation. And in an interview, they were asking him, your mom and your dad, how are they? So technically, is dad and then they came on a visa. And the more they kept talking with the interviewer, so the interviewer was asking Vivek, so you're saying you want to change the laws to make it harder to live here as an immigrant or with a visa. But then again, you were also in this country do the same things that you want to get rid of. And recently they caught him on some other things that he has said. So keep your eyes open. He might be, from what I thought, one of the smartest people out there to maybe not so smart. And you wonder too, are some of these people groomed? Here we go. Vivek, 18-year-old Harvard student, he asked, this I thought was pretty interesting, right here. He asked Al Sharpton years ago when Al Sharpton was running for the White House for president. He asked him about his lack of political experience. Okay, his lack of political experience. And Al Sharpton, he talked, which I thought was interesting. But the one thing that he did say, because years later, he had him on his show. And I've got all my papers here. We're going to show that in a minute. Al Sharpton had him on his show. Look at them today. Okay? Where Vivek back then asked Al Sharpton about his lack of political experience, Al Sharpton got to ask Vivek about his lack of political experience. How many people who've been around are being recycled? And how many people are being pushed to be groomed to run against certain people? Some people said in the Republican Party that Vivek was a plant to be put into the Republican Party to run. You just don't know. Democratic Party, you get Robert F. Kennedy, you got Marianne Williamson against Biden. Biden's not gonna and I thought this was interesting, it's not gonna debate. There's nothing but a general election. So if you're in office and you're not gonna debate, you have two other people running against you, you're not gonna give them an equal chance. Even from what I've seen, Democratic Party has said, hey, you know what, if Williamson and Kennedy are running and they're in certain states, which I thought is very interesting. You can check this out. That as far as getting those votes and everything, they will go to Biden. So what makes you want to run in that Democratic Party? Right now, Kennedy is considering maybe running independent. And I can tell you for a fact, politics is hard and some of it is corrupt. And I'm going to give you examples of it. But man, when you run and you're honest, people will be there for you. The power of a politician. You don't have to be in office to make a difference, but boy, if you are, you can change the world. Young, old, if you don't like who's in office, you go in or you get people and support somebody else and get them in office. Keeping it honest, keeping it real, and that's what we do. We keep it simple. We talk about the things sometimes people don't like to talk about. Another thing people don't like to talk about. And it's not me just picking on Biden, okay? This is Trump too. Too old to serve another term. Among U.S. adults, Biden is a 77%. So he's too old to serve. Trump, 51%. Biden's 80, Trump 77, Mitch McConnell is 81. Are these guys too old to serve for Congress and any office? Should there be term limits on some of these people? You know, it's interesting too, because Nancy Pelosi, who said, you know, I'm just going to step back, she's thinking about running and she's older than any of them. So is age a number? I don't think it is. So should there be term limits on people running? I don't think so. If you're capable of doing the things, no matter how old you are, then you should be able to do your job. Some of these people right now. All right, I'm going to give you some of these people. Senator Dianne Feinstein, she's 89. Senator Chuck Grassley's 89. Senator Richard Shelby is 89. Senator Jim Hope, he's 83. We're in Hope. Senator Patrick Liam is 83. Senator Bernie Sanders, 81. Senator Mitch McConnell's 81. Senator Jim Reach is 83. Senator Ben Cardin is 79. And Senator Angus King is 79. Oldest United States senator. Some of them can do their stuff. Some of them, you know, unfortunately, age hits people differently. So when you get to that point, if you don't want to lose that power, maybe people close to you would say, hey, you know what? It might be time to possibly step down. When is it when you're in office or anything where you're not just hurting yourself, but you're hurting the people around you? Speaking around you, there's this book out that I think is very, very interesting, and it's called The Last Politician. and it's about the past couple years of Biden, and it's a interesting, honest book. Some people may not like it because it's about Biden, and people don't like putting Biden down. But this is what it says in the book. At the beginning, Biden said they would have weekly lunches, but those began to fall off schedule. Wow. And is that Biden because he's in office and he's not doing it anymore? Or he just decided to change his mind? He knew that he had erred, but then resented his aides for creating the impression that they had cleaned up his mess. Because a lot of people talk about that sometimes. Rather than owning his failure, he fumed to his friends about how he was treated like a toddler. Was John Kennedy ever treated like that and babied like that? Very interesting book, The Last Politician, Franklin Foe. So Biden considered his poor approval rating, because he has a poor approval rating, a failure of the media, which somehow neglected to note all the ways in which his administration was superior to Trump's. It was also a failure of his own White House to effectively communicate. He complained that there wasn't enough surrogates on television defending him. My thing is, I think they are, because a lot of people just aren't dealing with. Let's question maybe Biden's gaffes and maybe how he's maybe not paying attention as much. Is it okay to step down when you know you feel you can't do any better? Again, from The Last Politician. And his advanced years were a hindrance, depriving him of the energy to cast a robust public presence or the ability to easily conjure a name. It was striking that he took so few morning meetings or presided over so few public events before 10 a.m. Wow. His public persona reflected physical decline and times dueling of mental facilities that no pull of exercise regimen can resist. Wow. In private, he would occasionally admit to friends that he felt tired. Man, when you get to a point sometimes that you have to ask yourself, just like an athlete, you look at Michael Jordan, you look at LeBron James, there's gonna be some time when you say, you know what, I'm not the same person. Do you give it your all till you're the same person that you feel? Um, Once you start declining in anything, can you come back? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. One thing that I tell you, life does not stop declining. Okay? You start from zero and you keep on going. But while you're going, you try to be the best that you are. And speaking again about the best that you are, people running right here are these the best candidates we have? Trump, DeSantis, Ramaswamy, Pence, and Haley. And as you'll find out, one thing I've reached out to some of these people to be on my show, which I'm glad I've got some positive responses. And, stay tuned for some of the people that will be on my show. It's the elephant in the room. We're going to be talking about that. Speaking of, as we're talking about the election, we talk about people running. Bernie Sanders, Cornel West, they've been taking heat. Media has pushed him out as being the best of friends, and the media has asked him, well, you know what? This is your friend, Bernie, and he has told you not to run. And I've said before, when you have a best friend, supposedly, and that best friend tells you not to run, but they're in the Democratic Party, and they ran against technically the Democratic Party, and now they're in this party, and he's out there, Bernie Sanders, telling Cornel West not to run. Why? And how does that make you feel as Cornel West? Well, mainstream media has tried to get that story, to get that fighting and everything, and Cornel West has said, I love my brother. But does there come a time when, it's like, okay, enough loving my brother, he doesn't want me to run, where he's sitting pretty now, and he doesn't want me to run, but at one time, he was in the same position I'm in now. And again, with Bernie Sanders, as I said, look into this with Bernie Sanders and the $200,000 that was given to him to go to his wife's nonprofit fund. Bernie has said before that he doesn't deal with big business. But what if your wife does? A lot of people are turned off by that. A lot of Bernie supporters are turned off by that, and also that he's not supporting his buddy Cornel West. So when you look at these two, is there a friendship there? Because you're looking at these two, are these two people where you say you have hope in the political world, in the world we're going into? Or do you have hope in these two people? Myself, elephant in the room, I have a lot of hope. Growing up, I've always wanted to talk to this man, Dr. West, one of the smartest men around. He's third party candidate running for president, been taking a lot of hits. Well, elephant in the room, all I can say is stay tuned. Keeping it honest, keeping it real, and keeping it bam. Simple. Text me 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. Email address is parkerman2011@gmail.com, parkerman2011@gmail.com. And again, as we talk about politicians, and sometimes the lies of politicians, how it catches up with you. Caught up with Ramaswamy. Stay tuned. There's some more keeping up. Recently, we've been looking at Biden's past false claims. That's been catching up to him. I was surprised. He says he witnessed a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh in 2022. His grandfather had died just days prior to his own birth at the same hospital, and he had a conversation with an Amtrak dealer. All of these been brought up as lies. You got to be careful what you say when you're running for office, okay? And it gets even worse. Biden's past false claims again. He was arrested during the civil rights protest. This is so funny, I can't even make it up. He used to drive an 18-wheeler, okay, and he visited the Pittsburgh synagogue where worshipers were killed in a 2018 mass shooting. You really have to be careful what you say because remember, there's technology, there's mainstream media, there's online media, and when you say things, people can fact check you. For instance, we saw Anthony drinking out of a black cup. Now the question was he really drinking? So you have to be careful of what you do and what you say. Can't wait to tell you this story, okay? Mr. Rogers, we're going to end this on a good note, but we haven't gotten to that good note yet. As we talk again about the elephant in the room, and, you know, elephant in the room, enough said, Michelle Obama, 2022. What say you? But for her to be 2022 for president, what's going to happen to this person? Kamala. So there's some rumors out there that she may be on the ballot. Stay tuned as we talk about that. Who knows? Something to think about. We know that her husband's been going through a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of interesting stories. And we're going to save that one too, okay? Because we have to talk about that in a delicate way. The history of Barack Obama, the past, the present, some of the scenarios, what people feel about Obama. Did he do this? Did he do that? Is he working in the White House? Biden's there. But Obama did say, hey, you know what? If I had a third term, I would like to, maybe have a place somewhere in Washington where I won't have to go out and I can work at home technically. So some people are saying, wow, you know what, Biden? Well, you got your wish. That's what you're doing. You're working at home and informing Biden as far as how to take over the country. Man, I mean, the political world, it is vicious. It just is vicious. And this is another crazy story. Because if you don't think it's vicious, here's a story right here. Okay? His name is Senator Bob Menendez and his wife. Now, let me tell you about this story, okay? if you don't think there are crooked politicians out there, so this guy and his wife, they were indicted on bribery charges. The police FBI seized gold bars and $500,000. Here's the gold bars right here. Okay, there's the gold bars. All right, who has gold bars? So this is a New Jersey Democratic senator. His name is Bob Menendez, and he was charged recently with corruption-related offenses for the second time in 10 years. Second time in 10 years. Let's go back to him so we can look at this time. Okay? Second time in 10 years he's been charged. There's him and his wife looking good. So Menendez and his wife, Nadine Menendez, all right? They're accused of accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes in exchange for the senator's influence. So prosecutors alleged the bribes included gold, cash, home mortgage payments, wow, compensation for a low or no-show job, and a luxury vehicle. So prosecutors alleged that the bribes included gold, listen to the story, cash, home mortgage payments. Now, ironically, this is the second set of corruption charges against him. This happened before, and he's up for re-election next year. He's been in the Senate since 2006. This guy's up for re-election. He's been under indictments twice in the past 10 years. So he feels, okay, now remember, he's been indicted twice in the past 10 years. So this is what he says. But first, let me tell you, he had so much money. Cash was found inside his jacket. And the jacket has his name on it. Okay? This cash was found in his jacket. Now, who does that? Who puts cash in his jacket? He has so much money, he didn't know what to do with it, literally. So he has said, for years, forces behind the scenes have repeatedly attempted to silence my voice and dig my political grave. Since this investigation was leaked nearly a year ago, there has been an active smear campaign. Okay? There has been an active smear campaign. Well, you know that I'm really doing research because there's so many books around that I'm constantly putting the shows together. So he has said the excesses of this prosecution is apparent. So as I keep telling you more about this story, here's a gold bar. And this person's been elected in office since 2008. He's had indictments against him twice in the past 10 years. So according to this indictment, the FBI, they went to his home and found a safe deposit box that they conducted in 2022, and they took it, and it turned up nearly $500,000 in cash, including an envelope inside his jacket, like I said. Prosecutors even said some of the envelopes had the fingerprints or DNA of one of the 3 business contacts that he had. Wow. They also found, which I thought was funny, a luxury vehicle paid for, okay, in the garage. He was charged in 2015. He was charged in 2015 for, and this is crazy, conspiracy, bribery, and some other stuff. He also accepted more, again, $600,000 in political contributions. I mean, $800,000 in a luxury hotel suite. Man. So the corruption trial a couple years ago ended in a mistrial in November 2017 after the jury reported it was deadlocked. Okay, so the jury was deadlocked. He was found with stuff, and the jury was deadlocked. It was a mistrial. So they dropped the remaining charges. So he was convicted on dozens of counts of healthcare fraud and sentenced to 17 years. Wow, in another case. But this sentence was commuted by then President Donald Trump. Should this guy be in jail? So he says, Mendez, to those who were digging my political grave so that they could jump into my seat, I know who you are, and I won't forget you, he said at the time. So here's a guy again, money found in his pockets. Wow. Gold bars. Wow. Hotel stay. Wow. And we don't think that politicians are crooked. So when you do have good people, how do you believe they're good? How do you believe that the person you're voting for is a good politician? How do you believe all the people that are running for office are good? How do you believe even yours truly running for a politician are good? Again, anybody can say and give their political speech. All you have to do is give people what they want to hear. Make people believe that you believe in what they believe. Again, as I do every now and then, I'm going to drink something and then I'm going to show you what a politician does. And welcome back, yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander. I'm running for office, running for Congress. And the reason that I am running, I know in these days and times, they're hard. I know I've raised my kids as a single dad. I live paycheck to paycheck. I've tried to keep my kids in a good school. I've tried to stay at a good job for years. I, like you, have been laid off. I, like you, have come back to work. I, like you, do not have the funds to meet the everyday needs. Inflation is what it is. It means that, everything's inflated. The only thing that's not inflated are paychecks. And what can I do for you? Well, like most politicians, they live in their world. They're doing things because they've got a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money. I'm about as grassroots can be. Again, like I said, I've raised 3 kids. I know the trials and tribulations of raising a kid. I know the trials and tribulations of making uh, ends meet. I know the trials and tribulations of transportation, making sure you have not just enough money to pay for where you live, but for paying for food, paying lights and gas. I know it's hard out there. And when we vote for people who have big money contributions, we vote for people that are living a good life. And yet they say, I'm for you. Well, you know what? If you're for me, why don't I see you at these places? When you have contributions from big companies that are supporting you, is it all about money, trying to make it, trying to be a successful politician to get in office? Or is it all about getting to know the people? How many people running for office have come to you and said, what do you want? I work for you. Well, you've met one now. You've seen me at your house. Some have. You've seen me call you. You've seen me do grassroots. I'm not going to take big money contributions. I will work for you. I want you to know that, man, this guy is really one of us. I want to thank you for every signature that you signed for me to get me on that ballot. That means you believe in me. So why wouldn't I believe in you? So as we continue to grow and grow against these people that have been in office for years, that have been in there because of their names, that have been in there because of generations, why don't you help me run up against that person and be more of a representative to you? Because if, the worst of 2 evils, if you don't like this person, if you don't like that person, but then you see somebody like me running and you see where I stand, then vote for me. Because don't say, well, you'll never get a chance, because all it takes is one more vote. All it takes is one more ground roots effort. All it takes is for you to know that that person is representing you. Can we all make a difference? Yes, we can. Okay, I'm using that. Or yes, we want to. How's that? So you'll keep seeing me out there knocking on doors, whether it's cold, whether it's COVID back, whether it's day, whether it's night, whether it's hours, whether it's getting grassroots people, whether it's getting people to vote, whether it's getting people to believe that we can make a difference. When I know we can, the future isn't just this month. Okay? Don't believe that. You do have a breath of life to vote. You can make a difference. Don't think you can't. Because if you don't like who's in office, again, vote them out, you run, or put somebody else in who will make a difference. And if you guys aren't going to do it, then put me in. I will be there for you. I thank you. God bless you. God bless America. God bless everyone. I'm Anthony Parker Alexander. And Q. There we go. So now, politicians tell you what you want to hear. Anybody can run for office. And like I said, if you don't like who's in office, then you run. Speaking of running, let's end on a good note. Here we go. All right. You know this is, and this is, of course, how many people know this guy? Okay. This is the mailman. All right. Remember, he would come to the house and he'd be at Mr. Rogers' place. All right. And sorry, he's not the mailman, he's a police officer. And this was in 1969. Most public swimming pools, they were still segregated. Listen to this, they were still segregated. Blacks and whites were separate. So Mr. Rogers at that time invited a black police officer on the show to cool their feet together in a plastic wading pool. By doing so, the two gentlemen broke a major color barrier. So you look at this, man, in 1969, most swimming pools were, segregated. Blacks and whites could not even put their feet in the same pool, could not go to the same pool. So what did Mr. Rogers say? He said, you know what? I want to do something different. And that's what he did. He did something different. He made people think about desegregation. Wow. He did this in 69. And then he also did it in 93. Wow. Breaking down the barriers. Mr. Rogers. Think about that. Even though it may have been a small show, it made a lot of difference. Man, Mr. Rogers. Didn't you love him? Why can't we all be like that? Why can't we all just put our feet together in the pool and have some fun? You know what? I wish we could do that. And hopefully, prayerfully, we can. So together, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Together. It's a neighborly day in a neighborhood. A neighborly day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, could you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be my neighbor? And thank you. In this world that we call keeping it real, keeping it honest, we thank you for watching our show. If you have any questions or comments, you can email yours truly. It's parkerman2011 at gmail.com, parkerman2011 at gmail.com. You can text me, 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. Don't forget to go to our patrons page and support us. And again, tell your friends, hey, we try to do the best that we can do. Go to YouTube, go to any online streaming, and you can see us there. You can see us there. And keeping it honest, Ukraine, all right? We need to do something about this world. And remember, it's all because of you. We try to make it work. I am Anthony Parker. Keep your head up. Don't forget to hit the like, share button, okay? And subscribe. I'm Anthony Parker. Keep your head up. Never look down. Always believe in yourself. And therein will lie your answer. I'm Anthony Parker. Alexander. Let's all try to keep our feet in the pool with everyone. God bless.